And I am back again with another guide to Final Fantasy XI. This time we are doing Whence Blows the Wind, which is the limit break that takes you to level 65, raises your cap to level 65. Now for this one you need to be at level 56, and you will also need to at least have the mission, your nation mission 4-1 Magicite at least flagged, because you will need the key items that you acquire from the first portion of that particular mission in order to get to where you need to go, plus an additional key item called the Crimson Orb, which I will have a guide already up for. Now, as soon as you're level 56 or, 60 and capped experience, you're going to talk to Matt for a cutscene. Now for this cutscene, he will ask you to acquire 3 items: the Orcish crest, the Quadav crest, and the Yagudo crest. Now these are from, respectively, the Monastic Cavern, the Quillen Dome, and Castle Ostroa. Now these are all within the various strongholds of the Beastmen. Castle Ostroa, Bideau, and Devoy. Get your maps. You want your maps. You need your maps. Please get your maps. And you probably want at least 1 Echo Drop for this particular quest. Well, maybe not. It's dependent on how lucky you get with particular quests. You may also want to get re-raise. You will definitely need Sneak and Invisible, and a little bit of luck. So, our first stop is going to be, I believe, Devoy. So if this is your first time going to Devoy for the Limit Break quest, Whence Blows the Wind, it is here on your map of Jugner Forest, just down here in the lower portion at G12, with the peninsula looking thing, and you just want to head on through these. Now, of course, if this is your first time coming here, then you definitely want to pick up the survival guide. Alright, so assuming you've got the key items you need, the Crimson Orb, which is the only one you really need for this area, you want to head this way. Or if you've done the Crimson Orb guide and you're on the quest, you can just start at the middle of the map. Up there with the short person that gave you the quest for the Crimson Orb, and just walk to the Wall of Banishing, I think it's called. If not, then you want to head this way. Get on this way, down the road. Pardon my voice going out. Head on down this way and just follow this particular kitty. Now, I don't believe you'll need Sneak and Invisible as long as you're level 60. If you're below level 60, around level 56 or so, you probably need Sneak to get into the area we're going to, which is all the way down here at H11. And that war machine sounded angry. But yeah, you just want to scoot through this area and head on this way, right here. This is an interesting map because it seems to be like a reversed orientation from most normal maps. You come in at the south and head to the north. Or I'm completely backwards and missed my turn. You don't want to miss your turns. I believe this is the way we want to go. Yes. We want to head down this little noodle here and cross the bridge. Eventually, we'll get to it. And hopefully not get hung up on any orcs as we run. Or hornets. They like to stand directly in your way. They're very good at that. But yeah, if you're here at level 56, you definitely want Invisible for this next part, or you can just run and hope for the best, or you can bring out your trusts and, well, Well, yeah. Execute violence. But once you get to this little crossroads here, you just want to keep heading south. Start at the south. You start at the north and head to the south, which seems backwards for most maps. And you just want to head into this cave here. Like if you get any aggro off those guys, just zone them off into the cave. Now we are back in the monastic caverns. We want to bring back up invisible and make our way through here. We are going to the little wiggle there off the main chamber and the little hallway there, which is at, I believe, I-8 is where we're going. I-8. And we'll probably be back in here for some artifact quests at some point in time, but for now, we just want to head this way. This is an interesting map, like the coral-like formations and the height of the flowers kind of makes it look like it was underwater at some point in time. Which, I don't know, I just find neat. I like a lot of the maps in Final Fantasy XI. They're all full of pretty little details. You can tell that lots of love went into this game. I know, I'm sure I've said that before, but it doesn't make it any less true when I say it again. And these orcs here will definitely aggro you if you are under. What the hell kind of noise is that? Oh. Something fell over next to me. I was wondering what that noise was. It sounded very distorted through my headphones. But yeah, you just want to head into this area. And once you're at the end of this particular tunnel, into this connecting tunnel, you want to hang your right here, and then you want to hang the next right here. Like I said, we will be back at some point in time in this guide series. Potentially sooner than later, depending on how my brain works. I.e., I'm going to be doing White Mage first, so I can't remember if that's here or if that's someplace else. I recall correctly, I'm not sure. So you'll zone up back into the semi-central area of Devoy. And here you definitely want to pause and absolutely have invisible going forward. Actually, we probably want to bring out our trusts first, just in case. Now, like I've said before, you might want sneak and invisible for this quest. You definitely want invisible, especially here. I don't know why my brain farted so hard there. I almost made a big oops. But yes, these guys will aggro you. They will aggro up to level 99, so no way around it. Just kind of want to head out, take this bridge here. And we're going to make our way to the, I believe, the Banishing Wall. The Wall of Dark Arts is what you go through for the Magicite quest. But yeah. Now, like I said, if you just finished the Crimson Orb quest, you can trust up over there on the bridge, or in the area with the little dude, and head this way. Thankfully, it looks like somebody's been through here already, so we're just gonna ride that particular good luck and head through the barrier. Use your key item, you'll have a temporary amount of time to run through it, and you can just zone back on in to the monastic cavern. Now we're looking for the Orcish crest. Now, a lot of guides will say that there are true sight notorious monsters near the question mark. I don't believe I've ever seen one near the question mark. They're all in the main chamber here once you get to it, if I'm not terribly mistaken. Of course, the main chamber is the blurred part of the map. Just want to make your way through. These guys will definitely aggro you if you don't have invisible. For sure. But yeah. The protectors won't aggro. They're not true sight. Not sure which ones are true sight, but I don't think any of the ones that we just passed are. We want to make our way through the chamber into this little hole, and right on the other side of the little hole where there's not really anything, veteran and war chief, you can see the question mark on the ground here. You want to drop invisible. You want to pick that up, and congratulations, now you got the Orcish crest. And we're on to the next location. With a little bit of warp magic, which I fully recommend having here. Warp on out of here. If for whatever reason this is your first trip to Yagudo, you're going to want to come here in the Pashao marshlands to the little nubbin off on, I believe it is L11. L11. And that will zone you into the Quadav stronghold of Yagudo. And once again, if this is your first time in here, you might want to pick up the survival guide. Pardon me, my throat's closing up on me. So, if you'd like me to do one gigantic movie for the Limit Break quest and the Mission 4-1 Magicite, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to cobble together a director's cut. But if you're just here for the, the Limit Break, we want to make our way back to, well, where we got the key items for the, where we got the items to get the key items for the mission quest. Brain good. Brain good. Just kind of want to head this way. Keep hugging the left wall, I believe, will take you right to where you want to go for this. Right now, anyway. At least on map 1. We head down here to the little hole at the end of that pathway. You can kind of see where we're going. Map. Now, whether or not you want to crawl trusts here is entirely up to you. I'm not going to, because I'm not planning on needing them right now. But once we get to the dome, you may want to have them around. Now, unlike the Magicite, once we get to the crossroads here, we hang a right. And then we want to hang another right to get to the mute, which will inflict silence upon us. Hooray. Pretty sure Geomancer might have something to say about that part, but that's for another ride way in the future. And once we get muted, we want to head this way and continue straight. Straight on through. And you can kind of see where we're going. Kinda. I might get completely lost. Nope, that's not the way. This is the way. This way here, past the Afflictor. Now, if you're around, you know, level 56, 60, these guys won't bother you at all. You will not need sneak until you get to the upper part of the second half of the upper map, which is a mouthful and probably makes very little sense. It will make more sense in the future. Don't worry. Just kind of want to head up this way and back out onto the main map. Now, these quests can be pain for a lot of reasons, but this one is actually fairly simple. Like for Devoy, you need to get the Crimson Orb, which is an absolute butt to get. Or know somebody that already has it, who can help you out. You can probably ask the assist channel, you could probably ask your link shell if you have one, or you can just make a post on Reddit and ask. I'm sure somebody there will be happy to help you. Final Fantasy XI has one of the best communities in gaming, and it always has. If you need to get muted again, you can stop here and pick up mute. We're going past this second Afflictor here. which will not affect us because we have the mute. If you don't have the mute on, it will give you curse effect, which will drop your HP and your movement speed, and it will suck. Now, if you have curse now, that's not a big problem. You can get that a couple of ways. You can be White Mage with the spell, or White Mage who has purchased the spell. You can have a White Mage Trust, or you can have the White Mage Puppet, if you're a Puppet Master. But that's in the future. Well, for me anyway. A future guide. It's actually one of the ones I'll be working on next. Blue Mage, Puppet Master, and Corsair. The At Ergen jobs. Treasures of At Ergen jobs. So, we make our way down the same path we used to get to the notorious monsters. I'll just kind of shush up and take us there. So now we're back where we can find this particular critter. Instead of going back up and around, you want to head across the way into the next area, which is this way. Now, let me know if you do get lost doing these, and if that is the case, I will just upload a giant director's cut of both of these. I may do that anyway, just because. Now, as you get in here, some of these guys will start checking as easy prey, and you might want to bring up Sneak. If you can, which is why we brought Echo Drops. Let us not be silly. They may or may not aggro at level 60. If you were below level 60, like level 56, which is one of the prerequisites for this quest, the only other prerequisites being having done the previous Limit Break quests, which I would hope you have done, instead of trying to jump to this one. But, yeah. They may be aggressive. They'll definitely be aggressive if you're below level 60. I am currently level 60 and the check is easy prey to me. Or too weak in some cases. Some cases too weak, some cases easy prey. Now where are we going here? We're heading to the northmost portion of the map, sort of. That's just our first stop on the road. Yeah, some check easy prey, some check too weak. Wow, that was some pop-in right there. Whether or not they aggro you, though, is anybody's guess at this point in time. I don't believe the sheep are aggressive. I could be fully wrong. I don't think I am. Let me double check that they're... Yeah, they're too weak at this level. About jumped out of my throat when the thunder cracked as I ran by the sheep. Now we're heading, actually, right here. You want to drop down here and head into the hole. Now this one's a bit convoluted. And of course the map, well, we'll see when we get in here further. When we get in here further. Now larvae shouldn't aggro you at all. If you rest next to them, they will be aggressive. So they are aggressive at a certain point. These Quadavs, however, certainly will be aggressive at level 60 even. Probably quite a ways until they're not aggressive. Once we are in here, as you can see, the map is not really useful. Now, to our left we have another afflictor. So we want to kind of head down here, unless you want to just battle through curse, which I do not want to do. So I'm going to run down here and get muted by the mute. And hopefully sneak, yes, sneak will last quite a bit. For me anyway. If you're on Dancer, it might last a little shorter, or if you're on Dancer as a sub-job, it might last a little shorter. But I just want to get muted on up and head on out. Now you have the Silence Affliction. The Afflictor will not bother you. Like I said, you can just power through it if you have Kursna, or White Mage, or White Mage Trust. But the White Mage Trust might not be too useful right here. And I'll get into why, because these guys are tightly packed, and fairly high level. So if you're in here at level 60, they could be a bit of a pain in the bum. Totally doable with trusts, actually. That's just how it be. You want to go around this afflictor and head on up here. We'll see where that shows us on our map. Basically, we're heading to that crossroads there. Now, because you don't have invisible on, you won't need to drop invisible to get through the doors, thankfully. We just want to head back up here through another afflictor. I want to head to the left this time, which will take us to the crossroads, which you need your key items to get through. I think. Maybe not. I don't know anymore. But you want to hang right and head this way. Past yet another afflictor, I believe. We want to hang the left here and head down the tunnel. And this will take us to the dome. Where, well, you'll see. You will see. Eventually. Eventually. Now that pathway takes us to M8 on that map. And if you have silent oils, this next part might not be too bad. But if you don't, and you're me, you definitely want to hit another echo drop. I'm going to bring out trusts just in case. And once you're ready, you want to bring up sneak. You definitely need sneak here. Now, if you're doing it on dancer, you can drop invisible immediately. You don't need it. But sneak you do need. And this guy is in our way. There's a ruby Quadav. And in this room, there's also a mute, which... not really sure if that serves any purpose, really, in here. You don't need to get it. You just need to make sure Mr. Ruby here is not in your way, and he is directly in our way. Now, don't believe the platinum guy here. He's incredibly tough. The crest check is incredibly tough, so they'll aggro you up to level 99. And they will be a pain in the bottom if you are trying to get past them, and they decide to attack you. They will link. Our friend here, Ruby, is impossible to gauge. That means he is a notorious, or he or she is a notorious monster. Or it, or whatever it identifies as. Anyway, we just need to wait for it to move out of our way. Now, I'm not entirely sure what distance True Hearing is, but I'm hoping I am far enough where he's not going to come and chew my buttocks off. Yay! Once you slip past him, we're going to head through this door here. Now, we know the Dark Steel one is not a True Hearing, nor is the Sapphire, but there are True Hearing notorious monsters in here. Panic. The Ancient one is not. Platinum is not. Sapphire is not. Adaman is. We want to avoid that particular one. Anything whose strength is impossible to gauge, you want to avoid. Make your way to this here. And once you have it, you have the Quadav crest. Congratulations, you can now unclench everything and get on out of here, like I am about to, with more. Now, if for whatever reason this is your first trip to Castle Oz, you want to head here on the map, the Marifatad Mountains. I'm butchering every name, I'm sure. So right here you can see us at what appears to be K and L8. Just basically center of the map due east. Next to the spine, which is a crystal line. Now you definitely want to pick up the survival guide here if it's your first time in. And we want to head... oh boy. Oh boy. Let's actually bring out trusts first. As you can see, I am here pretty early in the game day. There's a reason for that, and it makes this the most annoying of these to do. Probably by far. Although, you know, give or take. This one's definitely probably the worst one to do for the Yagudo crest. So you want to make your way here to this brass door. Or if you're doing it differently, you can just brute force your way through this part, but light the torch. Yes, these can be skipped and it can be brute forced with the names. I'll have the names in the description below. But you want to come to the brass statue and get the first word, which is MJUU. And I am going to put that in my party chat so I have it. You may also write it down separately outside the game, which I'd almost recommend because party chat do disappear pretty quickly, and the brain does not store that much. My brain RAM does not store information that well. Once you've done that, we want to make our way to this part here, which you may have been to before if you're doing this after the Windurst quests. It's part of the Windurst mission line. To the handles. Now, these can be a bit of a butt. Can't reach target, okay? That's not the handle. Now, you can, cheesy, do what I just did. Cheesy. Until you get the right handle. If you get the wrong handle, you'll fall into an abyss and have to work your way back out from there. And that can be a bit of a walk. If you'd like me to show you that one, leave me a comment and I will show you how to get out of there. Once you've done and dealt with that, you want to head up the stairs. Now, you're going to need 3 of these passwords, and you're going to need them in order. And they're scattered around the castle in different places, which is a great big bundle of fun. Now, we want to make our way to the second of these, which is down in the basement, where you would go to get the magicite here. Which, once again, I can do the big director's cut if you want these 2 quests synced up together. And hope it'll come out decent anyway. Now you want to ignore that pathway right there, because that leads you nowhere you want to go right now. Potentially in the future, if you're leveling Beastmaster and want the artifact armor. Which you will definitely want eventually, if you're leveling Beastmaster anyway. But we come out here, and this is another one where the map is a maze, and it's not really clear where the blockages are. But this is the path that takes us around those particular roadblocks, and we want to head down the hall and down the hall. Down this very wiggly hall, past the birdmen. And their elementals. I think if you want to sit and womp some of those, you can get a scroll for one of the elemental summons for Summoner. But that's for another time. Now for this we're going to want, I believe, just invisible. And we can avoid anything that would require sneak. Now there are some things that would require sneak if you want to go through them, like the... Well, I'll show you when we get to them. That'll be easier, right? Now this is the same path you want to come for the Magicite quest. So if you're here doing that at the same time, just saying. Just saying. So we want to head down this path here. And our goal is that room in the middle. Well, that closet in the middle off the main room. Basically. Now we will need to drop invisible to get to it. These single bats are sight aggro, if they're high enough level to aggro you. I don't believe any of these are yet, but they will be once we get to the more central part of this map. It's very batty out here. Well, in here. Down in the basement of Castle Oz. Now, the passwords reset daily, as do the lever, as does the lever password, which is another animal that we're going to have to get into. So you may want to have a post-it note or a notepad thing open, just in case, or just dump it all into party chat and hope for the best, if your memory is better than mine. Because I will absolutely forget the words in between entering them. As we get in here, of course, you still see them checking 2 week. Until right about these guys. Easy prey. Now, once again, I don't know if they'll aggro at easy prey, but they might, so I'm not going to test my luck there. You want to head yonder into this place. Hang another left here and then a right up ahead. Scoot across the room and into the little closet there. Now this is only for the Yagudo crest. The slimes here in the middle, the oozes, which are too weak to be worthwhile to me, will aggro to sound if you're a lower level. And we want to drop invisible, light the torch, head through the door. And we're checking here for the second word, which is that. So, it is G-A-D-U. Yes. Alright. So, like I said, you can just brute force this, but that can be a time-consuming ritual. Once we get out here, we want to put invisible back up so I don't get attacked. Just in case. And if you are here at level 56, they will definitely aggro you. But, yeah. Since I am here at level 60, and they check as easy prey, they may or may not. Depending on their mood, I guess. Now, the Yagudo Conquistadors will actually drop the second level ninja scrolls for the elemental magic. So if you're after that, you're here on Thief, it might be cheaper than the auction house. Pardon me. My stomach is not happy with me at the moment. You might save some money off the auction house, or I think you can just flat out buy them now from the Tenshodo merchants. Of course, joining the Tenshodo is a prerequisite for these quests, so once you have that, you want to make your way out, or if you're going for the Magicite, you want to go and get that, which is down the way there where you see the path fade off at, what is it, G10. But that is for either another cut of this particular batch of videos, or for another guide. So once you got your second word, you want to head back up to the second floor. It's weird that the basement connects directly to the second floor rather than the first, but who knows? Also, that little corridor off to the east there is the one you land in if you fail at the levers, which really, it's a 50-50 shot. There's nothing to tell you which one might be which. It changes daily, like everything else in here. like a great big old pain in the bottom. A lot of other things in here, though, are... Well, you can find the thingamajigs to tell you which is which and what's what. Which brings us to a reason why we have the truss out, actually. But you'll see that in a little bit. Now you can find more conquistadors up in here if you want to hunt them down for ninja scrolls and maybe profit? Maybe not. But yes, we're gonna just slip on back through to where we want to be. Which, oddly enough, is right back at the start of this particular second map. Down the way and around the bend. As you can see, the map, what the map doesn't show is the blockage here, and there's another blockage on the other side. So you gotta go around the long ways. Hooray. Now, if you're incredibly, I would say, OCD or crazy about it in some other way, you can make marks on your map to mark where the blockages are. Which, might be handy, might not be handy. Some areas where you will find a lot of blockages share maps with places that you wouldn't, like certain areas between the past and the present. Alright, now, we're back here at the crossroads, and we want to go this way this time. Now, there's one more closet with a word in it on this particular floor, which we will get to shortly. But first, hang a left. Well, but first, we want to come down this way. Now, that way will take you out to a different portion of the map, but we want to go and stay on this portion of the map. Heading all the way down and around. Now, where we're going is actually to the west, but because we don't want to go brute forcing anything, I want to take invisible off and go through the hidden door. Now, see this thing here? They are all up. Okay, that changes daily as well, and that is the password to get into the next area. So we want to remember that they are all up. You can write that down if you have trouble remembering things like I do, or you can pop it in party chat. But hopefully I'll be able to remember that. Just kind of seems weird that they're all that way, but hey. Whatever the game wants to do, the game will do. It's entirely RNG. Now we want to continue down this way until we get back into the main chamber. And as you can see, the easy way is blocked. The next easiest way also blocked. There's a twitchy cow on my lap getting petted. He is very happy with this turn of events. And we want to just scoot along. Now the way we want to go is actually that way, but before we do that, we want to head to the closet with the word, which is down here. And we light the torch. Whoosh. Head on in. Past the birdie boys, and there's a birdie boy back there. The third word. P-U-Q-U. And that is our words. So they will be different for you. So, well, they probably will be different for you. I'm not entirely sure how many potential combinations there are, but there are a bunch. Like I said, you can just brute force it, but that can be more or less time consuming depending on when you get here. If you get here late in the day, and you just want to power through it, by all means, Like I said, the words will be down in the description of the video. It is a set list, and you'll have to guess the first, you'll have to find the first word, then re-enter it until you just pound your way through. Oh goodness. Let's get all these in the upright position here. And that shall open this door. Again, this will be different for you. Now, immediately in here, you want to cast Invisible. Because these critters will absolutely aggro. The reason I brought out Trust is because this one tends to stand very close to the door and might be staring at it as you come through. And you might have a fight on your hands. Now, if you're on White Mage, you might want to bonk them a few times because they can drop moccasins, which are used in one of the White Mage artifact quests. So, food for thought, or you can just get them off the auction house. That is stuff for another guide entirely. So we want to make our way up the stairs until we get to the next floor in the next portion of the map, which will take us through a couple of wigglies. Now, if you're leveling up Paladin and you want to collect the artifact armor, you'll be in here again at some point in time. For sure, for sure. It's another weird quest with some weird prerequisites, but as it goes. Now, the leeches here, the Yagudo parasites, check, easy prey. They will be aggressive to sound. So you either want to avoid them or use sneak. I'm just going to avoid them, as it's far simpler than casting sneak again, and then having to cast invisible again. And or cheaper, depending on whether or not you're using silent oils. Or prison powders. But yeah, you got a bunch of wiggly corridors to go through to make your way up to the next floor. There's a lot of floors. Now, as you make your way to the next floor, you may or may not see the enemies getting more difficult. Of course, if you're doing monk and you're doing monk artifact armor, you will definitely be in here as well, again. So, as we get on up, we have the decent challenge abbots and the decent challenge inquisitors and etc, etc. Now this used to be a great deal more difficult. You used to have to light all the torches. I think you only need to light one now. And you may or may not get lucky and come in to find the door open, which I clearly did not. Or you might be finding somebody in here murdering them, all for fun and profit. There seems to be a shortage of birdies in here. And you want to drop invisible here and light the torch. And then you want to scoot on out before you get aggro. Now, if you see any enemies on your way, in your path, you might want to recast invisible, but I mean, somebody definitely came through here recently and did a murder. Now you can see the door is open. Like I said, you used to have to light all 4 of the torches. Now you only have to do 1. And once you're in here, you just have to enter the passcode on this trapdoor here. Now what was our passcode? Let me try and just write this down elsewhere real quick, because I will absolutely forget it otherwise. And you want to activate the brass statue, and it will ask you to say the vow. You select all right and enter the first word, which is, for me, MJUU. It'll tell you to speak the second word, which, again, for me, GADU. And the third and final word for me, which is PUQU. This will likely be different for you. Now, once we're in here, we want to hit invisible again. Now, mobs in here are aggressive to 99, I believe. Yes, yes they are. They are beatable with a team of trusts, just like in all the other locations. Now, what we're after here is this question mark right here. You want to wait till the birds are looking in another direction. Looks like somebody's been here recently still. The only ones you need to worry about are the high priests and the avatar, I believe. Now, hopefully this guy will look in another direction when he stops, or, well, we'll figure it out, right? And we want to hit, where are you at? That. And pick up that key item. And there's a couple ways out of here. The quickest way is the one I'm going to use, and that is warp. If we are coming back from the limit break quest, you just want to bring your various crests all the way back to our buddy Matt back here in the palace area. And you want to talk to him for a cutscene. A cutscene that could have been an email. And your level limit is now 65. Congratulations, you can continue the grind. That is all for this guide. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, like, subscribe, comment, bring a friend, have them do the same. Patreon if you're feeling generous or so inclined. I shall see you in the next guide. Until then, happy gaming.